Okay, thank you for joining us here today. Sheriff Donahue with Kenny County Sheriff's Office. As you all are very much aware, 2 days ago we had an extremely violent homicide take place in our county within this jurisdiction at the Jackson's convenience store in Notus, Idaho. Unfortunately, it took the life of a 25-year-old, Christopher Reese. Since that time, our office and offices with our partnerships in law enforcement throughout the valley have been working around the clock to cover every aspect of this investigation and this crime. We have a lot of information. We have a lot of evidence that we are processing at this time. There's some of those facts I can't speak to, obviously, to protect the integrity of the case. But the primary reason that we've asked you all here today is obviously to get the public's involvement and the assistance of the public through your agencies to help us identify the two individuals who we feel are responsible for this heinous crime. At this point, we do not have them identified. And so we are really hoping that the public can assist us in this. We have many aspects of the investigation covered, again, with the evidence and things like that and processing. But this is a very critical and crucial part of the investigation, is to have some assistance by the public, especially for a public safety, from a public safety standpoint. At this time, I'm going to put some pictures and some small bits of video up on the screen. What you see here is from surveillance video at the Jackson's food store out in Notus. And this is the first suspect that you're seeing on the film is a small, again, video of him entering the store. Obviously wearing a camouflage jacket of some type, carrying a firearm, rifle, and obviously with facial coverage and gloves to, especially the facial coverage to prevent identity. Joe, do we have the other still shots of this individual?
Yeah, we got them side-by-side stills.
There, so we have the second individual entering the store with some stuff in his hand, obviously wearing jeans, denim jeans of some type, with a black hoodie and also a black mask like the other individual, covering the identity of his face. These two photographs we feel are very important for dissemination to the public. It's important that we get this out and again ask the public's assistance in helping us identify these individuals. Perhaps someone out there knows who they are, has been associated with them. Again, we can't go into all the facts of the case. I do want everyone to know that the prosecuting attorney, Brian Taylor, who is joining me here today, has been very involved, his office, obviously, from the moment this case started. Brian's office and my office are working diligently, basically around the clock, with information that's coming in and processing. And although we can't give a lot of information out, Brian, not speaking for you, Mr. Prosecutor, obviously want the people to know that these two officers are working side by side every step of the way to get this case to a proper conclusion. We believe that these two individuals, as you've seen from the video and the still shots, are extremely dangerous. Obviously, a young man has lost his life at the hands of these individuals, we believe, and that they're still out there. They're still out there, and right now we do not have them identified. So with that, I would stand for questions. Again, these questions will be limited in terms of facts of the case, but feel free to ask.
Sheriff, you had said that there was obviously a public threat. In the past, we've been saying that people should just be alert. Are we concerned that these people might act again?
Well, I think in any violent crime, especially in violent crime where a homicide has occurred, that the public has to take into consideration that we, as a public, you, me, anyone, the public has to be more vigilant, has to be vigilant, or at least more vigilant in what their surroundings. Will these individuals act again? Hard to say. Will they act again here? Hard to say. We can't answer that question. I think it's prudent for the public and quite frankly, especially law enforcement who may come in contact with these individuals, either directly or indirectly, to be very vigilant about who these people may be. So is there a public threat? I think any time that a homicide has been committed, that rises to the level it's a public threat. It's a public safety issue. And unfortunately, we do not have these people in custody yet.
Why release these pics and videos now and say not maybe there too?
You know, it's a great question. And basically, as any case develops, we have to process tremendous amounts of information. Again, working with the prosecuting attorney's office, we felt it prudent to try to get as much information as possible. We've been running down many leads that have come in on possible suspects. So until those leads were exhausted, we wanted to make sure, again, we held the integrity of that process so that we wouldn't give undue advantage to the suspects. At this point, though it's a great question, we've came to the point where we believe, talking together with the team that's investigating, the case officer, Brian's office, and my own, today we need to get this information out. We're going into the weekend. There won't be a lot of interaction from us and the media between now and Monday unless something develops. So we felt it very prudent to get it out to the public now so that they can start looking at this information. We've just come to that point in the investigation where we felt that we could get this much clarity out to the public.
Jackson said today that they stole the safe, tried to get it open, couldn't get it open. Can you talk about that?
You know, I can talk about, obviously in this case, Jackson Store or Corporation is correct that the information they've put out, obviously the safe was removed from the store during this event. We have recovered that safe. We're not releasing a lot of information about what condition the safe was in. The only reason for that, we're not trying to be secretive or be contrary to what the Jackson Corporation has put out. It's really about the integrity of the prosecutional side of this case. There's certain information we just don't feel comfortable putting out there.
In the second picture on the right, you see the guy obviously carrying a dolly. Did they go in there specifically for the safe? Is that what you're looking at, or was this to kill Mr. Reese?
You know, that's an excellent question. We don't have the answer to either one at this time. We're looking at all aspects of the case, any and all possibilities. Some of that I can't talk to, but for the most part, we're looking at every single possibility. We're leaving no stone unturned. We're leaving no possibilities closed that we're not exactly certain as to what the motive would be. We have some leads. We're going to follow up on them at this time.
What about the likelihood that these are former employees?
Any possibility is open at this time. And again, we are looking at every possibility. The Jackson Store Corporation has been incredibly helpful, incredibly cooperative. I want to thank those folks. And as I know that they put out about an hour ago in a press release to all of you that they have put a significant amount of award money out for the apprehension and conviction of these two individuals. And I believe that amount right now sits at $25,000, which is very significant. And we applaud the sincerity of the Jackson Store Corporation to get that out there on behalf of their employee.
Does the store video show everything that went on inside the store?
I can't. There's obviously surveillance inside the stores you can see, but anything past this we can't speak to today.
Can you say whether they loaded the safe onto that dolly or hand truck?
Again, we're going to keep certain information to ourselves to help the investigators and the prosecution side of the case.
Do we know how many times Mr. Reese was shot?
Information that we just can't divulge right now. Obviously, an autopsy was completed yesterday. We're still awaiting the final results of that autopsy that has not been submitted back to the prosecutor or to the investigative team at this time.
But he did die from gunshot.
The cause of death was gunshot.
Is this pretty rare for you guys investigating a case like this? Not only a robbery, but a fatal death and a robbery of a guy, one where guys come in with an assault rifle, a dolly. Do they, first I guess just, it seems like, and obviously none of you is compared to you guys, but it seems like there's some practice in this.
You know, I'll answer the first part of that. It's an excellent question once again, and again, it goes back to the primary reason of having this press conference. This is an extremely unusual, in our opinion, unusual type of crime for not just Canyon County, but the state of Idaho. This is a very violent crime. It's a very, obviously, direct and deliberate crime. So for us to see that in the state of Idaho, we're very surprised by that, quite frankly, as our law enforcement partners. It's not something that we see often at all. So I think going back to why we're having the press conference, these individuals are out there. And the primary goal for us here today is to get the public's assistance in identifying these two individuals so that they can be taken off the street, whatever that is, whether they're here, whether they're in Idaho, whether they're in another state. We need to get these people removed off the street.
You had gotten a few tips the first few hours after you guys started investigating. Are you still getting tips?
We are. We're getting numerous tips, and we're following every tip up that we get, every lead we call them. So we're exploring every lead possible. I think this particular press conference will assist us in getting more leads, and which is exactly what we want. We'll have people working on this throughout the weekend. We're going to give some of our individuals who have been going around the clock, hopefully some rest over the weekend, but we will absolutely have people available to answer calls, to take lead information, and to respond if necessary.
With pictures like this, video like this, somewhat helpful, but as you talked about from the beginning, covered from head to toe, faces covered. As an investigator, can you give some advice to maybe just people out in the public, other things they can be looking for in these pictures, in this video that might help them identify these guys?
I think the clothing is a good place to start. Obviously, the things they have in their hands is a good place to start. The individuals may know of these people, may have seen this similar things in the past. They obviously this is to me it's an attempt to not have identities shown, so it does make it far more difficult for our investigative teams. Again, we have a lot of information that we're not divulging at this time, a lot of evidence processing that we're not divulging at this time, and the primary thing is how do we get these two completely identified.
Sure. One piece of clarification for Chris's question. As far as the dolly and on the disc that you've often provided, it includes these video clips and these stills. So you did remove the safe on that dolly, and you will see that in one of the video clips on the
And the prosecutor did just remind me too. We, as Chief Deputy points out, we have a disc available for each and every one of you, with additional still frames and video pieces that are going to be on those discs. So you'll be able to get any additional footage from your side. Which the reason we're giving that is to give as much as we can, different information, different looks at the individuals to hope generate someone who knows who these people are.
I've asked this in the past, and I know I'll ask it again. Do we think that they came in there with the intent to kill first or to rob first?
Again, a question we don't have answered at this time, and as we gather information, I think those facts will work out in the end, and that's going to be then a time when we move to the prosecutorial side of the case. Very preliminary right now as to motive, and so that information is being held confidential.
Can you speak about the person that called in the suspicious activity? Was she from the area? Did she normal stop? What was it?
All we can say is that we had information come to us from a passerby that had come to the store and then alerted us to a serious situation inside the establishment.
Do you have any information on the vehicle that they arrived in?
We don't have that. We're not able to divulge that information at this time. Obviously, the integrity. So with that, I will end that at this time. Obviously, our primary goal is, from the prosecutor and I, is to make sure that the public is safe, the public is knowledgeable about what we're doing to try to rectify the situation, and that we are completely asking for the public's assistance to not just help law enforcement, but basically to keep our public, our community safe in this time of obviously a very horrific and heinous crime has been committed, and we want to get a closure on it as quickly as possible.
Sure. Can I ask one more question? But you obviously see the assault rifle and the one suspect's hand. We know that the other one was armed. What was he armed with?
Right now, we're just giving this information right now. I think you'll see from the other photos that we've given you, then you can make your own determination by that. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate you getting out here on short notice.
You guys need any more? Yeah. Somebody second. Dim the lights. Yeah, that'd be great. We hit the lights, Alicia.
you guys seen the video again too, or?
Yeah, in a little bit.
Okay.